want to talk about a topic that we get asked a lot about, which is how do we speak to Gen Z on social, right? What's our tone? What kind of content, what kind of copy do we use? So let's touch on that for the last couple minutes we have. I'd love to hear from some of the panelists around a team or whether it's a single piece of content that you can remember that really, really stood out and you were like, wow, this really resonated with me. And this is a really good job on that brand's part to reach me and my friends and my peers. Is there anything that stands out to you guys? Is there any kind of example that you guys can recall?
One thing I noticed was on TikTok, the Detroit Lions, you would see their page commenting a lot on like posts that weren't just sports posts. And it
Yeah.
was funny to just go through and see whoever was running that page was finding a way to interact with something that wasn't even sports related, which I found really interesting.
That's awesome. Yeah. So they were just joining the conversation across, everything that was trending and happening in culture.
Mm-hmm.
I would just build. I would just build on that, James. I love that insight. And the only thing I was going to say is for teams, leagues that are searching for that, just what James said. I would look at a brand even outside of sports. Just take one example, Wendy's, who's really really well known for great, timely, relevant content, like James just talked about, participating in conversations that have nothing to do with Wendy's. Look at what they're doing. They've been written up endless amounts of time for how strategic, creative they are, especially in engaging Gen Z, and then take those learnings and then apply them to your channels. But here's the last piece, as James just hit on. Take those young Gen Z hires you just hired, or those Gen Z interns, and empower them to manage those channels, empower them in a timely manner to respond in an authentic Gen Z way. That's another key piece of the puzzle. We can't have old Gen Xers like me managing your social media channels, right? It's got to be James and the other panelists here who are doing that. That's what's going to work.
Yeah, definitely. I think the authenticity part like stuck out to me the most, and there's a lot of different ways you can do that. Like, I think having like perfectly clear cut production sometimes it's something you see so often that it's kind of nice to see something a little more personal, like filmed on an iPhone or something like that. It lets you know that there's a person behind the camera. And personally, I get most of my like sports updates and stuff on Twitter. Um, I just follow the teams I like, and I'm constantly seeing, I get all the highlights there, like regardless of whether I'm watching the game or not. I know exactly when the game is. It helps with that kind of engagement. And then also I enjoy seeing like friendly banter between teams on Twitter and replies and like kind of making fun of plays and stuff like that. Again, it just lets you know that there's a person behind the handle. And it's just like it's interesting and something that I would talk about with my friends, like making fun of a play or something like that.
Or you want to build on that a little bit? Anything you heard that during the Q&A there with Anisha and I that maybe either, again, just really resonated that you'd say, yeah, that's what leagues and teams really need to think more of?
What Dylan said, I think the authenticity is really important. Kind of the whole time you were talking about when you said TikTok, Clubhouse, and all of those, just really getting into that, and kind of to answer Lauren's question with that as well, of the player versus the team. You can, like, I come across NFL players all the time on TikTok, from them with their new husband to funny dog content from Gronk. And I'm not a Bucks fan at all, but love Gronk. So just, I think there's a different way besides the normal team advertising, that different platforms now enable you to kind of get to know the player, and then from being a fan of the player to become a fan of the team as well.